And we are live. You can start whenever.
Okay, so this is the May meeting of the Prospect Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And the first order of business is to the approval of the April 12th, 2021 meeting minutes. I was not at this meeting, so the minutes were very graciously submitted by Sarah Odell, who pinch hitted for me. And so I would welcome any conversation about corrections or additions that might be required. And hearing none, can I have a motion to approve as written?
Motion to approve the last meeting minutes.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, they are approved as written. Thank you so much, Sarah, for filling in last month. Mayor Evans, I would like to invite you to give any kind of update you would like to provide on the state of the city.
Well, that's too much information.
Okay, you can abbreviate.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No, Linda, as it relates to the parks, I'm eager to get into the information you sent out recently entitled Spending Options for Remaining Parks Budget for this year.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into that.
Okay. So are you saying you have nothing else you would like to report at this point?
I don't want to take up your time with a broad brush overview of city matters. I'm working on trying to find a successor to Laura's position, getting short on time there. We are an inch away from closing the budget for the coming year. I expect we'll do that this week. I don't want to go into the details of that.
Right.
I will say it's going to involve, a proposed budget's going to involve a significant amount of expenditures for infrastructure, including paving. If you want me to get into the LDG litigation, the city is not litigating with LDG over the so-called Viridian up the road, up US 42. Other people are litigating that, keeping an eye on it. More closer to home with Prospect Cove, LDG has now moved the court to reconsider its decision upholding the Metro Council's rejection of the LDG proposal. In my opinion, what that does is it generates a whole bucket full more of legal fees on both sides, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So that continues to chug along.
Okay.
I'm very happy with the staff that I have. I'm happy with our code enforcement, Rick Wilson. I'm happy with the police. Happy even with Ron Cundiff and his crew. Thought that I'd get a chuckle from him. But yeah, administratively, the only thing I've got to do, and it's a big one, is to find a new city clerk administrative assistant. So spread the word. I'm out there looking.
Okay, thank you. So the next agenda item is parks updates. And Sarah, I don't know if you have anything to update us on regarding the playground proposal.
Yeah, so the the application was officially submitted on Friday. There's a little bit of room if the grant manager looks at it, and if we missed anything, I don't think we did, but it'd give us a little bit of room for error. Isn't due till the end of May. So we stayed at the same number of people who did not like the proposal. So that was 15 total. That number stayed pretty steady the whole time. And then 99 official submissions. There were more people that said yes, but 99 official written emails, concurrence forms. So official documentation. There were a few more that spoke at council meetings that I did not add in with that number, but 99 people that were in support. And then we got a letter of support from Congressman Yarmouth and Representative Fleming. And then there may be one or two others that are in there that got sent direct to the grant manager. So that got submitted on Friday. And I think, Ron, can you give me a thought? I added you to an automatic link. Did you get that? I just want to make sure that it got sent.
Can I what? You cut out, I'm sorry.
Did you get a link to the grant application from me in your email?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No, I just wanted to make sure that's sent. So that's where we're at. So it's been applied for, and then we pretty much sit and wait. I think we find out a little bit of something over the summer, and I think that's if they want to hear more of a presentation of the proposal, but they still have a timeline to find out if you receive the grant in December. So it's quite a ways off.
Okay. Yeah.
So Sarah, I have a question.
Was that Robin?
Can I ask a question at this point?
Oh, yeah. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much. And I'm so pleased to join in and to meet everyone. Sarah, you've done a tremendous amount of work, and I'm new to Prospect. I've only been here a short period of time, but love it and love everything about it. And I think that parks and culture and recreation is vital to any city. And I guess my question is that this is sort of new, and what is the plan, I guess, for going forward? So you've applied for this grant, but what's the long range plan for how the parks fits into the mission and the vision, I suppose, of the city? I wouldn't ask this question if I could find it, but I wasn't able to. And maybe you can answer right away, or perhaps someone else can. But I know that having worked in many other states and having done this for DeKalb County in Georgia, a long range plan really adds great vitality and a tremendous amount of value added to a community. But I've also lived in other communities where it was more, I would say, not planful. It was more haphazard. We'll put in a boulevard here, but we're going to put in a park over there. Do you have any idea, or can anyone share how this fits in with the broader vision of Prospect, and what the budget would look like annually? Are we going to grow out parks and other neighborhoods? I'm just curious about what the process is going to be for how we proceed as a community and how we grow and develop.
I'm not sure who the best person is to answer this, because we have a lot of initiatives going on right now, including an initiative that the mayor has been behind for the city overall. We certainly have been working on creating a vision for the parks, and the playground is a really integral part of that. I'd say we're a work in progress right now. I'm not sure, Mayor, if you have something more you would like to add. We're certainly starting to look more long range, but I don't think we have a concrete all-inclusive plan at present.
Well, you're right. There are several things going on right now. We have a company which is, and you all know this, which is studying what our options are in Putney Pond Park due to the fact that the pond is gradually silting up, and also due to the encroachment of invasive species around the pond. They're going to make their recommendations to us. So that's Putney Pond Park. Now, Putney Pond was acquired with a 50-50 grant, which limits what we can do up there in terms of, we couldn't put a playground up there, for example, because the restrictions would not allow it. But within those restrictions, we are having studied what our options are, mainly with regard to the silting problem with the pond. As to Little Hunting Creek Park, which has gone pretty largely unused up until now, you know what the plan is for that. Cali Park, we don't have any plans to do anything very different with it. The Forestation Board is planting additional trees up there, which Ron is well aware of because he keeps getting beat over the head and shoulders to water them. But Cali Park is pretty much the way it's going to be, as far as I can see. I don't know what more you'd want to do with it. We do use it extensively on the 4th of July. And that leaves Harrods Creek Park. And Harrods Creek Park has a lot of moving parts. And the upcoming budget devotes a certain amount of money to fixing things in there. Linda can speak more definitively to what they are, but there's a lot of commitment, monetarily and otherwise, to maintaining and improving Harrods Creek Park. And that's all of our parks, and I don't know where in the city of Prospect you would have another park, because we're pretty well parked out.
Well, I guess, Mayor, my question was really more so that I can kind of understand our community. Parks is extremely important, and any kind of cultural activities or environmental or natural resources issues are very important to almost anybody that wants to live in a thriving community. But where is parks in the overall vision for the city? We've got businesses growing and developing. We've got neighborhoods coming out. We've got possibly an apartment complex coming up on River Road. What is your plan for all of us, or what is the city's plan for all of us? What will Prospect look like in 10 years from now, I guess is the question that I'm asking. I just happened to drop in on this meeting because I'm very interested in amphitheaters and anything that enriches the city. But in order for me to know how I may or may not be able to be helpful, or whatever the case may be, where are we going to be 10 years from now? Or maybe that 10 years is a long time. Maybe where do we plan to be in 3 years or 5 years from now? Is there any ongoing discussions? Because it seems like there's a lot of wonderful initiatives taking place, but is there a flow chart or some kind of a umbrella over all of that would help those of us that are over Memorial Day or the 4th of July sitting around at our backyard barbecues talking about how pleased we are with our city, but what will it look like in 3 years or 5 years, and what can we do to help or participate?
If we're lucky, it will look very much like it looks now. If we're lucky. We're threatened by social engineering going on downtown, trying to move a lot of people out of downtown into Prospect and other regions in the county. My main goal, I'm not at all hesitant to tell you, My main goal is to keep Prospect as nice as it is and has been for 40 years. We are making various improvements as we go along. Sarah Odell has taken the lead with Little Hunting Creek Park. Parrots Creek Park is heavily used. We have a canoe launch down there. I don't have a master plan to change things from the way they are. No.
Okay. So we sort of here, we sort of look at project by project then. Is that someone comes forth with
Well,
a,
I know that one of the things that we were working on before COVID hit, and I think it's going to be revisited in the future, is to enhance some of the offerings that can be made in the parks, things like concerts in the parks, maybe events or opportunities for families and children, maybe crafts. We've in the past had wildflower walks and bird watching walks, spring and bird watching, especially in the fall as well. And I think we're working toward plans to get those sorts of events and activities up and running again. But as you know, the last year has kind of stopped all planning for things like that. So I think there's a lot of interest and energy in making those sorts of improvements and opportunities. But we're just sort of coming back from a year without being able to do much planning. So I guess that's the best I can offer.
well, I think that's a very strong statement. COVID threw us all into a state that we had never been in before, and it did give us, cause for pause, and we are just now coming back from it. But the things that I believe that you mentioned, concerts in the parks, things that are culturally enriching, we could coordinate with all the colleges and the universities. There's so many grants that can be obtained, sponsorships for Peter Pan, maybe at a certain park, different types of family types events. So you talked about the educational opportunities, which I think are amazing, and I believe that most families would just totally be appreciative of all of that. I have my grandchildren could participate. They live here in Prospect also, but I'm very interested and would love to be a part of anything that would culturally and academically or educationally enrich our community. Safety is a huge issue as well, and I think that everyone in Prospect is so grateful for the safety issues that we don't have any real safety issues. Everything here seems to be running very smoothly, but I also know that we can get a lot of good people involved, I think, and it can be very helpful. And in a way, just to participate in the initiatives that you already have going forth, a lot of people do want to know about, and I'm one of them. What's the bigger vision? What do we want to be 3 or 5 years from now? But the initiatives that you mentioned sound really wonderful. And as we eke out of COVID and hopefully continue to make progress, we'll be able to work on those kinds of things. And Sarah, I popped into your meeting here to ask all of these questions, but know that my entire life has been in strategic planning, higher education, and in government. So if I could be helpful in any small way, just, I'm happy to do that. But there are many professionals out there. I'm retired now, and I really like it. It's really good. But this is my community now, and I love it. And so Sarah, any of you can count on me at any time if I could be helpful in any small way. So thank you for allowing me to join the meeting today.
And then to share with everybody, so Robin and I met via the correspondence for Little Hunting Creek Park, and we actually met up at Please and Thank You to chat, and so I could hear about her background. And Linda, I'll pass on, if that's okay with you, Robin, I'll pass on your email.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And
Because
and
I tried to
my
grab
call,
Robin. I tried to grab Robin up early, so she wanted to get her, walk in first, before she jumped in. But um, she's got a great background in that strategic planning and partnerships with people, and how to make something into, a small idea into a successful larger idea, whether you have money or not, et cetera. So and ideas for how to go forward. So I'll pass that on to you, Linda. It's been a busy week, so I hadn't had a chance to do that. But
thank you. And my call dropped and I just reconnected, so I lost about 3 or 4 minutes of the conversation, but I think we need to press on to our agenda. But thank you so much, Robin, for joining us tonight.
I'm delighted to
So
be
the
here.
next
Thank
meeting,
you.
oh, thank you. So the next item on the agenda is a report on the Bluebird Box project. And Carolyn Embry and Sally Schneider are really leading that effort. And we had a meeting this week. Carolyn was not able to join tonight, and Sally has agreed to give a report. So Sally.
Yeah, we met actually Friday, and Phil Tamlin, is that the right way you say his name, was able to join us, and Ron.
Tamlin.
Okay, and Ron, Carolyn, and myself, and Phil has offered to make the Bluebird boxes. He brought a couple of designs, and we've kind of asked for, quote, his higher end design, which I should have taken some photos of it. I don't know if Carolyn did, but we can share.
Okay.
The design with everyone. And then we walked the Orange Trail down in Harrods Creek Park. We identified 8 places to place boxes down there. Do you want me to go over where we're going to put them, Linda, or just kind of?
I think just a general overview is good enough.
And then they went over to Putney Pond, and they identified 4 boxes that could be put over at Putney Pond also. And then there was, obviously, Phil won't let us pay for anything for what he's going to do, but then we'll still have to pay for the galvanized fence posts, which run about $28 each. And then the U-bolts to attach the boxes onto are going to be about $5 each, and 2 per box. So it ends up costing about $40 per box, or $200 for the 5 boxes that are needing posts, because some of them will be going on existing either fence post or utility poles.
And I'm thinking there might be some other miscellaneous costs, and when we get into it, you'll see that I kind of bumped up the total for that, because I'm not sure that there may be some things that weren't put in consideration when I came up with that $40 per box. But we were very pleased. I will also say that when I mentioned to Dr. Ahrens that we were going to meet with Phil Tamlin about helping us identify locations for the boxes, Dr. Ahrens is the person that made a donation to the parks to enhance the parks, and was very excited about a Bluebird box project. And his comment to me was, Phil is the best. He's been doing this for a long time. He knows what he's doing. You can rely on his advice. So I feel very good about that. Okay, then any questions or comments about the Bluebird box project? I will make one other comment, and Phil said some of the areas he identified for the boxes are not, quote, ideal bluebird habitat, but he said other birds that are cavity nesters will utilize the boxes, and they will enhance the habitat. So he said things like chickadees, or I'm trying to remember there. Wrens, other birds will utilize them, and that will be an advantage to to the parks, whether or not they're actually bluebirds. So he was very enthusiastic about putting some boxes down there. The next item I wanted to talk about was the ICF invasive plant removal in Harrods Creek Park. I sent everyone on the committee a copy of the report that they made. They have completed the invasive plant removal that was included in this year's budget. That was $10,000. They've done a lot of work at the Montero entrance to the Blue Trail in Harrods Creek Park, also along the midsection of the Blue Trail, and the Tree of Heaven at the beginning of the Green Trail. For those of you that know the trails, you know what we're talking about. I was very impressed with the work that they did. I physically went and looked at their work several days that they were working. It's amazing what a couple of people can do with chainsaws and herbicide, and they are really hard workers. So we're hoping that the next budget will continue to include money to further the effort in Harrods Creek Park. And the next item is the Putney Pond study. I was unable to join the walkthrough. I think that the mayor and Ron and Sarah all walked with the ICF professionals to talk about the Putney Pond study and get a sense of where their recommendations might go. And I don't know if any of the three that were physically present would like to make any comments. I don't expect to get their report with recommendations for probably another couple of weeks. But I don't know if anyone has comments you would like to share with the committee at this point.
Yeah, I can give you one right out of the box, Linda. The invasives that are along the edge of the pond, if removed, would open up the vista of the pond to everybody who uses the park. And I think that's certainly something we're going to move on. Beyond that, my understanding is that they're going to come up with 3 or maybe even 4 alternative proposals for us to consider as to what we either do or don't want to do as far as the silting of the pond. So we'll just have to wait for them to make their report for us to get together and consider which of those options we think is best. Having said that, I'll just pass that ball to Sarah or whoever else was on that exploration.
Ron, do you want to talk about the options, or do you want me to?
Oh, you can. Always like listening to you talk rather than me babble.
Yeah, so I think it was 3, and you're right, Mayor. There may have been a 4th. All of them included the invasive plant removal along the Putney Lane. So those are anywhere from 8 to 12-ish feet tall. That you can't tell there's a pond there at all, and that'll let some of the natural tree and wildlife come back and get birds in there, since that's a lot of bush honeysuckle, and so there's just nothing productive going on in that particular area, and a lot of erosion. So the 3 options, one is to, like with all the parks, we've talked about educational opportunities and wanting to jump back into those. And so part of that for Putney Pond for educational opportunities is put some signs up that it's wetland restoration. Maybe do, and Linda, I think I mentioned it to you, like maybe we do a save a tree kind of fundraiser type thing. You're really fundraising for invasive plant removal, but you can do like an Arbor Day. People can come plant some actual trees along the side, and people feel really good about that. So hopefully they can donate for the save a tree thing, and then you can get them to come out and plant something. You get the community involved, and then also do some educational signs. kind of strategically, so you don't overwhelm inside the park. It still stays very serene. They were super complimentary of Putney Pond in that Harrods Creek is taken over with invasives in a lot of spots, but Putney Pond, they were, you know, full wide-eyed with how great and natural they thought it was, and the invasives were really kept out, etc. So,
And
but some
that
spots
is
to do.
in the woodland. That's in the
Woodland trails. Right,
area.
you're right. Sorry, I
Yeah.
kind of got a little
Yeah.
a little adjacent, I guess. But some educational things along the pond about different areas, or hey, these are some native species you can look at. So that was kind of their initial low cost, but bring the community in education piece. The second one was with the culvert or dam, depending, well, the culvert where the road crosses over. There's a lot of erosion on Timber Ridge because it does flood and it tops that walkway. One of the things they suggested that they're probably going to put in a plan is to cut out a V in that. So maybe like 18 inches wide, it goes 20 inches down. It's not a huge thing, but a V kind of in the center that would drain the pond. It'll always be a stream in the middle, so do a little bit more control of where the stream would go. You'd keep some deep pools off to the side, so you keep the herons, you keep some of those larger birds, but you get a more controlled sort of pathway through there. You kind of speed up the transition to a wetland in some of the other places, which is where it's going to go anyways. And then the good thing about that would actually be good for the city is you gain that, so that the dam is 20 inches deep, you gain that 20 inches in water retention when the flash floods happen. So now all of a sudden you go from, you've only got inches, to go, you get a whole 20 inches that it could fill back up. And that would probably mitigate a lot of the erosion on Timber Ridge Drive. So that was one of the plans, kind of more purposeful piece and a quicker transition to a wetland. And then the third one was a combination of all of those, but also this I think would be super expensive, but I think they're going to do it so we can see how much it is a, what was it called, Ron? A silt forebay. Basically
Yeah, basically it's a silt retention area. I don't think that one was really
Upstream
going to be
from the
feasible. I
pond,
don't
right?
really.
Yeah, closer towards City Hall.
Yeah.
You would basically have an area that this is the part that would get expensive because the city doesn't have bulldozers and stuff, but the silt would gather there. You'd come, scoop it up, haul it away, figure out, whatever fines or fees are associated with moving that somewhere else. And then when I mentioned, oh, is that like a once a year thing? He was talking in like once a month thing, so, but he's going to give us an idea of what all that would be, but that you'd be able to maintain a pond. So they're going to cover kind of all the big bases. And I think we'll be able to see the cost spread from there.
Sarah, could that silt that's extracted be used at another park? Does it
No.
have any value?
No.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, Ron.
It has to
Ron
be.
would be
It
better
has
to
to be.
speak to it.
It has to be pulled, and then treated several times before
Yeah.
it can be released. That's actually where the money in silting comes in. Is because there used to be sewer plants along the creek, so they will not let us just dump it anywhere.
Yeah.
One of the ideals they did have that was really cool, I thought, is if we go to a wetlands, is after we take out all the invasives around the edge of the pond, they were talking like building observation decks overlooking the wetlands. And I thought that would be really cool. I mean, because we put like swinging benches and educational signs, that type stuff on the overlooks. So
They do that a lot in the South in Georgia.
The overlooks.
Yeah.
I think because you can't even tell there's a pond there until you walk out onto the road
Well,
area. I mean, really.
Yeah.
What's up? Yeah. I think that was it.
Well,
Linda,
thank
though.
you. I think we will just wait and see what the report options are and move forward from there. But I did want to make sure the committee got updated. The next item on the committee, on the agenda is Scout update. And unfortunately, Lynn Granger was not able to join us tonight. But he said that the Scouts are still not meeting in person. He thinks that's going to change in June. I think he mentioned last month as well that they are planning to have summer camps for the Scouts. That tends to be a time when the Scouts earn a lot of merit badges, which allows them to progress in rank and be ready to do their Eagle projects. So I am anticipating that late summer, early fall, we may have a number of scouts ready to do more Eagle projects in the parks. And we already have a pretty good list of things that we would like them to do. So I am eagerly awaiting the return of scouts who want to do Eagle projects, because we have some things we could ask them to do. So with that, I would like to move on to talking about the remaining fiscal year 2021 budget. And I sent out to the committee a few days ago a spreadsheet that talks about what our total budget is as revised in January, the spending, things that we've already committed to doing but haven't yet paid for, and some of our planned projects. And that leaves some unallocated budget, which I estimate, and this is an estimate, it's not 100% sure, at about $9,000. And we have about 5 weeks to spend that money. I've worked with Ron, who is our public works director and knows a whole lot of stuff about the best way to spend these remaining funds. And I think in my email, I'll just put all my cards out now and we can have a discussion. But I believe, and I think Ron agrees with me, that the most important thing right now is to really get the Orange Trail stabilization project completed. And we've got money in the budget. You'll see that we've already got $4,270 in a signed proposal, and Grayson's going to start very soon on that. But there are some other things that there's been additional erosion since that proposal was signed, and he has some other ideas about ways to make it more stable. And then we've also got some parking lot repair that needs to be done in Harris Creek Park. And we think that since Grayson from Earthbound Landscape is already going to have equipment and getting gravel and riprap delivered to do the Orange Trail, we should go ahead and have him propose to do that work as well. I do not have numbers from him yet. He's promised to get that to me in the next day or two. But my proposal is that we do that work first. That's the most important thing. And then if we have additional funds remaining, that we ask ICF to continue to work on the invasive plant removal in Harris Creek Park. So that's my proposal, and I'm open to any discussion or comments from committee members.
I'm
And
thinking
one
once
comment on that would be, as you know, get the invoices into our bookkeeper ASAP so we can expend the money during the current fiscal year.
And that is something that I put in every email I send to people, is it has to be completed and billed to the city before the end of June, because we have to get it in this fiscal year. So.
yeah, I have the sneaking suspicion that
we can't really react like in one day. In other words, if the money's going to get paid out this fiscal year, we really ought to have that invoice a week before the end, just to be sure.
Ron, you wanted
okay.
to...
I'm thinking that pretty much once we rip wrap those two areas that need the stabilization, that's probably pretty much going to kill what's left.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think that But I also, and Ron, you can speak to this. I think in my email I said, you know, Ron says if we lose the road, we can't get equipment in to maintain the park. So that I really do believe that's the best and highest priority.
Yep.
And do you want to comment on that, Ron?
Nope. You pretty much just said it all. If we lose that road in, there's no cutting, and you can't carry a lawnmower back there. So.
Well, you could, but
Ain't none of our guys
so
can do it.
So I'm thinking that I got an email from Grayson Shipwreck. He's the Earthbound landscape guy who's done excellent work in the park before. And he told me that he expected to get a written proposal in the next day or two. And I think we can ask Ron to review it and the mayor to review it and hopefully get it approved and get the work going. So any other comments or thoughts on that? And if there's money remaining, you know, I'll contact ICF and see how quickly they might be able to do something. The thing I really want to do is use the money in the budget for, you know, to improve the parks and not leave anything on the table. All right. And if there's no other comments or questions on that, let's talk about the next meeting day and time. And my proposal would be that we meet on June 14th at 5 o'clock. That's 1 week before the city council meeting. I always like to meet before city council. So first of all, does that work? And the second question is, are we comfortable meeting in person, or do we want to continue to meet remotely? Or do we want to have the option of people calling in if they're not able to be in person? So I'm open to conversation about that.
Our city council is now taking the meeting in person, just for your information. I think most people are comfortable with it now that practically everybody's been vaccinated.
And will
I think
there
that's the
still
key,
be an
though. We
option?
do still have, yeah, well, we still have people who do the virtual piece of it, Linda. So not everybody was there for the council meeting. I think the stipulation is the vaccination piece.
So Ron, first of all, since you are the key person in virtual meetings, would June 14th at 5 o'clock work for you?
But
I
don't anticipate.
I can't hear you. What?
Help to put the mic down.
Okay.
I have a meeting at 4:30, but I don't anticipate it taking very long. So I'm going to go on and say yeah.
Okay. And does that work for everyone else on the committee? Sally, does that work for you?
I'm sorry, what was the date again?
June 14th.
Just pulling up my calendar real quick.
And that will be my first
That's
Monday
Flag
back
Day.
to work. So.
A long day.
Don't expect the
Wow.
chipper me.
That's why you gave yourself a week of vacation from your vacation.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I have a huge party every year, and I always say it takes a week to get ready for it and a week to get over it. So.
Yep, that's funny.
I should be good.
Mayor, did you?
Linda,
You were
what
good,
time?
Sally?
Yeah.
What time?
5 o'clock? We still have a few members of the committee that work for a living, so 5 o'clock is easier for them. Retirees like me could meet anytime, but
That date and time work for me, Linda.
they do? Okay.
Yes.
well, let's plan on that. And does anyone have other business to bring? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Robin, would you
No.
like me to add you to the list for every meeting?
I would love to participate to the extent that I can. I would.
Okay. We'll put you on the regular distribution
right.
list then.
Thank you,
Look
Sarah.
at that, Robin,
Okay.
roped in. Welcome to the
Roped in.
club.
Walking, not jumping. Yeah.
Well,
See, I'm like
thank
I'm
you
like a
all.
little ninja. Nobody saw that coming until it was too late. So
Well, thank everyone for participating tonight, and feel free to contact me anytime you've got suggestions or comments. And thank you for a great meeting.
Thank you all.
all right, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much.
You guys, thank you. Bye,
Thank you.
Robin.
Goodbye.
Mayor,
Bye.
are you there?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
where-
We're
where-
clear.